What's up guys, and welcome to another Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon video. And today, rather than doing pure speculation, we're going to look over my top 10 sort of wish list of things I'd like to see appear, come up in Ultra Sun and Moon. This is knowing nothing about the game at all, apart from the fact that it's likely a retelling or do-over of Sun and Moon, so it's not a sequel, etc. That's all we know so far. And of course we have the Ultra Solgaleo, Ultra Lunala forms, but apart from that, we know nothing. So knowing that it is a retelling of Sun and Moon, here are the things I'd like to see. So we're just going to jump straight in. At number 10 we have something I did a video on just like the other day, and that's the Jurassic Park. Of course the video goes over it in much more depth than this is, but basically it's the idea of the fossil conservation centre, whatever it's called, in Sun and Moon is just being set up in Sun and Moon. So in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon you could see it be fully fledged and have a Jurassic Park area with some fossils in the wild to catch, and I think that'd be really cool, just building on Sun and Moon and updating it basically. So that's sort of one thing, and you could link it in with like other extra areas, which is another thing I do want to see too. Of course it just didn't make it onto this list, so you could see Jurassic Park or other areas. So the golf course we've got to access in Sun and Moon, let us go up there, battle some golfers. Different areas that we, Whale Volcano Park, we only went up the volcano, we didn't actually go inside it, apart from, actually no, we didn't at all, we just went inside and it took us to the other side. So let us go inside it, give us some more area to explore, make it like an end game dungeon, that's got some really powerful Pokemon inside, that sort of thing. So just extra areas in general there for number 10. At number 9, I would like to see a new form for one of the legendary Pokemon that we haven't already seen. So obviously we've seen a form for Solgaleo and Lunala, but I want to see a form for another Pokemon as well. So in terms of the candidates, it's probably Necrozma, Marshadow or Magearna. Marshadow could definitely get a different form. It's already got an exclusive Z move that does sort of put it into a different form, but I feel like you could also give it, an actual different form here. Or you could give Magearna its sort of ancient form. I would be happy with that, I suppose, just different colouring. I felt that would be pretty interesting. I think it's in the game as well, so it's just making it available to us. In terms of giving a form to Necrozma, I'm not sure if you can do that or not, because obviously Necrozma is likely giving the forms to Solgaleo and Lunala, so what does that mean for Necrozma? Can it also get a form, or does it have to just stay normal? That sort of thing. Kyurem, obviously the forms are on Kyurem rather than on Zekrom and Reshiram, so it's different in that aspect. You guys get the idea. I'd like to see some form of a different form. Usually we get it in a third series, a third game rather, or an update. So Platinum we got Giratina Origin form, obviously in Black 2 White we've got those. You guys get the idea there. An updated form, also we got Zygarde Complete form. So Necrozma, it makes sense that we get the same treatment, but of course it doesn't always happen that way. Now, number 8, I would like to see some support for the SOS chaining. So of course SOS chaining, if you guys didn't know, in Sun and Moon is your main shiny hunting method, where you go in, you take a Pokemon out, you go in, and then they call for help, and then you take that one out, and you keep it going like that. I'm sure you've come across it if you've played the games, and then eventually a shiny Pokemon pops up. As far as I can remember, there's no support in the games for that at all, so there's maybe 1 or 2 NPCs that actually mention it, but there's no count for it, anything like that. Whereas in previous games we have the Poké Radar, which does count for you, and at least to some extent, and obviously then we had the Dex Nav in Oras, which is brilliant and definitely helps out, counting for you. So I'd like to see some support and make it an end-game item, post-game. You get given a little thing that just tracks your chain, so maybe in battle it's just on the lower screen, just gives you a number, sort of thing, or maybe after the battle it lets you check it for your previous change, that sort of thing. Chains, that sort of thing. The difference to that is, of course, you can just get chains like battling normally. You don't have to, it's not like a purposed thing to get long chains. You can just get chains like 1 or 2, so whether that would clog that, basically every Pokemon battle will be a chain. So whether that would be too annoying, I suppose, or not, who knows. But I'd do some support for it in the games, nothing overly intense, but just some support to make it noticed, I suppose, and actually remember it's there, if of course it does return, which we assume it will. Okay, then at number 7, I would of course like to see some more Alolan forms. This isn't overly high up because I would like to see some things higher than that, because I'm fine with the current Alolan forms we have. I'm also fine with demanding a load more though. That's completely fine with me. Gives you a load more Pokemon to actually find in Sun and Moon. Obviously the Dex are pretty big anyway, so I don't know how it will go around. It's likely they're going to introduce different or other Pokemon to the National Dex in Alola. Because that's what they usually do. Again, Platinum expanded on the Sinnoh Dex, Black 2 and White 2 expanded on the Unova Dex, that sort of thing. So it's likely to happen, but I don't know how much bigger they can make it without being pretty, over the top. So I don't know, again, that links some of the amount of Alolan forms we get. I'm expecting to see some though. I'm hoping to see some as well. And of course, Johto will likely or hopefully be the focus of those forms, because most of them have been Kanto already, so it makes sense that these will then be Johto, especially with Gold and Silver releasing on the Virtual Console. And of course, this is all stuff we'll talk about probably in more depth in future videos. Then at number 6, I would like to see a changed plot. Now, what I mean by this is, of course, we are in the understanding that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon will be a retelling of Sun and Moon, i.e. the games will be similar, but of course there will be differences. We have Ultra Solgaleo, Ultra Lunala, which of course weren't in the original games. We have slightly different areas, slightly different cutscenes, for example, and obviously some things will be updated to match that story, so Necrozma probably has to come in at some point, so you've got to weave that in. But I would like to see, I guess, a bit more of a change plot than just that. I can imagine the existing Sun and Moon plots, you just slip Necrozma in and maybe have it, rather than go straight to the Ultra the Sun, you find out, okay, you have to actually get Necrozma to allow Solgaleo to travel between the Ultra space and this world. So of course you just go find Necrozma in a cave somewhere, who knows what cave, and then you just go from there. So you can easily sort of into the existing plotline, but I'd like to see some form of change, because I see the problem with, if you just do that, just slot Necrozma in, just chuck it in somewhere, make it work, that's fine. But when you're playing the game, there is literally no suspense, no excitement to find out what's happening next, because you just go along, it's the same, oh, Necrozma, cool, and it's the same again. So that would be pretty boring. I think a lot of people would actually dislike games because of that, if it was the case, because basically in all previous games we've had some, obviously Platinum and Emerald as well had similar plot lines. Of course, Emerald had both Ruby and Sapphire's plotline, so it was mixed in with Magma and Aqua. It was a similar sort of flow, but of course the teams came in at different places, which is slightly different. And Platinum again, of course, Dinoco only had one team, which was Team Galactic. Platinum, for the most part, followed the same trail, with some updates like Cynthia and whatnot, I think. But overall, I think Platinum was a big enough change, because you eventually had Dialga and Palkia sort of come together, and Giratina was this new force. Whereas I could see Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, you still have Solgaleo and Lunala, they are still the mascots, they're still the mascots, they're just in different forms. So I could see it being very boring for people, because they're going to follow exactly the same storyline, of course they do, as Sun or Moon, just with Necrozma slotted in. There's no converging of storylines from what we understand. So I'd like to see some form of change. What that might be, I've suggested maybe doing the islands in a different order. So instead of going, Melemele to Akala to, I don't know what, the one with Pokemon League on, Ulala I think, and then finally to Pony. Do it in a different order, so maybe go to Akala still for second, then go to Pony rather than Ula, because it would just be a change up, and have then the showdown, rather than happening at the Ultra of the Sun or Ultra of the Moon, happens at the Lake of the Sun or Lake of the Moon, and just mix it up a bit, just so it's not sort of the same thing over and you're not really getting any excitement or any plot enjoyment from it. Linking into that, at number 5, I have sort of links in deeper lore. So what I mean by this are explanations and actually hints and whatnot about a deeper lore in the series, because I do like fantasizing. Well, it's a bit weird. Theorizing is the right word. About the sort of the universe. Of course, we have the normal universe, we have the Mega Universe. Is there an Ultra Universe where we have Z moves and we have Ultra Beasts and whatnot? Is it slightly different from the normal one? Tie it in somewhere to another game, or possibly just tie it back into Sun and Moon. I think I saw someone suggesting in the comment section there might be some link, or maybe it was on Reddit I saw it, some link between the original game, so at one point you actually find out that Necrozma in Sun and Moon came from this world, because the other world doesn't have Necrozma, something like that. So a deeper lore to link things in, and there's loads of little things you could also link in. So Mon, of course, Lily and Gladian's father, we see him in Sun and Moon, he's not really himself, so we don't know if it's actually him, as in like Lily and Gladian's father, or whether it's an Ultra Universe. We're sort of in the multiverse sort of area where anyone could be anyone for the most part, so we have to be cautious in these aspects. Of course, we have the mystery of Looker as well, so we don't know how it's going to go along, but I'd like to see a deeper lore tying things up, tying things in to see how it goes. Then at number 4 we have new Megas. Now this obviously is higher than Alolan Forms, because I feel like we need some new Megas, because the last time we got new Megas was Oras, which would have been 2 years ago at the time, whereas obviously we have Alolan Forms for this generation, so it's not like it's urgent. So I'd like to see at least some new Megas, bring them in terms of what generation, maybe generation 2, maybe generation 5, just give us some more, because otherwise people are going to think the megas have died out, they'll lose interest, they might think, well, they just introduced a mechanic, yes, okay, it's still in the games, but they haven't actually built on it at all, so I'm fed up with it. You know, people might just get annoyed, they've introduced megas, then they introduce the learn forms and Z moves, and you're stacking things one-on-one, and if you don't go and sort of go back and update those mechanics to keep them in line, it's going to get a bit boring. So I'd like to see some new megas definitely in the games and see how that flows out. And then number 3, we have following Pokemon. So this is high because I think it'd be really cool, but I don't expect it to happen too much. So the reason this just sort of flares up again is because we have in Sun and Moon files of, you know, sort of models of every single Pokemon that could be used to have them follow you. So of course some of these models would have been used in areas, of course, like Pokefinder, I think that's the term for it, I can't remember off the top of my head, Pokefinder, as well as obviously maybe in the game as well. But people are sort of thinking and hoping at least that these models they were left in Sun and Moon maybe because they didn't have time to implement the Pokemon following, or walking Pokemon as I guess we refer to it as, but they might in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon again, another big thing like Pokemon can follow you now. It would be really interesting. I'm obviously not expecting it because I feel like that was a one-off thing for Heart Gold, Soul Silver. The next time they do it might be down to Pro remakes, but I'm not hoping too much for that because it wasn't in Oras. So, but that's just my thoughts about that. Maybe it happens, maybe not. At number 2, we also have extra post-game content. So of course, we always seem to I was fine with the post-game in Sun and Moon. It had the Ultra Beast storyline. It wasn't too deep, but it was at least something to do. And obviously the Crozma, but it wasn't overly over the top. You know, there's no actual plot as such. It was a small sort of mini game or side game, but there was no plot as such. So a lot of people were disappointed with it. So I would like to see them build on that to hopefully make people happy and actually make Ultra and Ultra Moon worthwhile. Otherwise, people are just going to write them off as copies of the original games. So I think I have to do some good post-game content. So what that could be, it could be obviously a deeper Ultra Beast storyline. So if they're not involved in the main story, you at least make it deeper. So maybe have a trip back to Ultra Space to have to actually, you know, catch or chase down some of these Ultra Beasts. Maybe they kidnap some people, for example, something dark. I don't know, and something like that. Or you could do it differently and have legends, of course, back in Oras. We have loads of legends in Oras, so at least have maybe 1 or 2 legends from previous games appear in the Alola region. So in terms of what legends you could do, I'm not going to speculate too much on it now, of course, because we had loads in Oras, so I feel like you don't have to do too many. But you have some legends in the area, so maybe Ho-Oh or Lugia to sort of a throwback to Gold and Silver, maybe Johto Alola forms and Gold Silver on the Virtual Console. You could do that. Just something to give you a bit more post-game content. You could also link this into possibly an expanded battle tree, so a Battle Frontier-esque area. I don't think it's going to happen because I feel like the Battle Frontier is just gone by this point. They're not sort of focusing on that too much, but some sort of post-game content to keep people happy. Because I feel like that's just the way you've got to go with it, but that's just me. And then finally, at number 1, updated online. So of course the main online function in Sun and Moon is accessed through Festival Plaza, and I think we can all agree that thing is a pile of shit. No one really liked Festival Plaza. There might be some people that enjoyed it, but generally, you know, going from the PSS to Festival Plaza was a total balls up, because PSS was great. You know, anytime you could basically access your friends, you could send them a trade, send them a battle message, etc. Easy peasy, just straight off the bottom of the screen. Festival Plaza, you have to actually go into Festival Plaza, you have to load it up, and then obviously there's all this shit that you feel like you have to actually take part in the minigame, otherwise you feel like you're sort of wasting your time with it, and just do it for the sake of it, basically. And it just wasn't very fun, I don't think. Yes, okay, minigames to earn yourself festival points, and you can spend them on, like, oh, super potions, great, I couldn't just buy them in game, could I? I feel like it was just a very weak part of the game, and if they are looking to truly upgrade it, that would be something they look at. However, I don't think it's going to happen because it's just a very tricky thing for them to do, because Sun and Moon, based around Festival Plaza, how are you going to make Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon communicate with Sun and Moon if the Festival Plaza is gone? You could do it, you could make it happen, but it might be a bit weird, bit sort of, it depends how, of course, it's all architectured, how it will match up there. I think it's possible, but I'm not holding my breath for it. But if not replacing it, actually updating it to some extent and actually giving us something to, you know, work for, I suppose. Maybe making it a bit easier to access rather than have to load in every time. Something like that. I don't know exactly what they could do, but generally I'd like to see an update online, make it a bit easier to use. But I don't have huge hopes for that because fucking Rotom Dex will probably return and be like, hi, I'm useless, but I'm going to use the whole of the bottom screen. But that's my top 10 or my wish list for things I'd like to see in Sun or Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon. Do let me know down below in the comment section what your top 10 or top 5 or top 3 is for things you'd like to see in Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon, all these just things in general you'd like to see come up. And of course that'll be it for me today, so if you enjoyed the little list, hit the like button. But this will be it for me for today, so I shall see you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye my friends.